Here I go out to sea again. The sunshine fills my head, and dreams hang in the air. Goals in the sky and my blue eyes. You know it feels unfair. There's magic everywhere. Look at me standing here on my own again.
shouldn't fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired of yesterday.
There we are. It looks pretty much dried now, but let's turn it over and give you a look. These runs is where I vibrated the mold, so the water vibrated out, but that's nothing to worry about. I just hope I haven't got too much leakage out the bottom of the mold, which I don't think I have. So as you know, concrete needs to retain that moisture or else it will dry powdery. So I think we're okay on the bottom of the mold. The top doesn't look great. This was completely flat when I laid the last layer of acetate on the top, but I think after I put it on, all these air bubbles came up. We've got shrinkage too. I can't decide whether I like it because of its industrial look or whether I prefer it looking smooth, but I put a little piece in there which will be for the DC charging jack panel, so that will be recessed in there. So now it's time to gently break this thing open and see how well we've done. There's no second chance with this, although it does look slightly wet and it feels damp. I'm not sure whether I should be leaving this any longer, but it's solid enough. It's been about 43 hours since I poured it, so I think we're going to be okay. Let's just see if we can sure the best way to do this. And I know my camera is bouncing around there, so sorry about that. You're fixed to my workbench. I won't lay down there because I got this one in, so I wonder if this one will break free. No, he's pretty much wedged in there. Right, there's that piece. Well, that wood glue is really strong. It's actually taken the top layer of lamination off. Well, let's put something down there. I don't mean to be so destructive, but you know what? I think I've got some. I think he's taped on. How do I cut that? Let's get a long knife. Right, let's do a super quick tidy up, get rid of all this mould. Put that aside. Right, where did I tape this to? Here we are. I got a few air bubbles. That's the bottom. That's the top. Oh, that looks quite good. Right, let's just pry this front panel off. We just got a little bit of minimal breakup on this corner, but that's fine. Oh, it's bloody heavy as well. Well, what do you guys think? Don't know if you can see the sheen on that, but it's got like a really high gloss finish to it. The big problem is getting this inner mel mold out of here now. Yeah, I've got little minimal areas where the concrete hasn't set. I'm guessing that's because the water seeped away, so it hasn't been able to do its chemical reaction, but that's fine. I can lightly buff this inner edge, and I can lightly buff or round off this edge as well, so we can polish that out. Right, I've just put a couple of holes in there. I'm thinking I can separate this top panel. It's only glued on here, so bit of luck I might be able to ease it out. No, that's not really working, is it? Right, how are we going to do this? Got those ends lifted out, but of course I can't put anything wedging in there because I'll break the mould, the concrete. So. What if I drill along this edge? Oh, that wood glue's so damn good. I'm not going to end up doing this all the way, am I? I bloody hope not. It's tempting to just take the bloody hammer to it, but I've got to go careful of that concrete now. I hope I'm not getting heavy-handed. No, have patience. Do it slowly. Have patience and it will pay off, he says. This could be a bloody nightmare. And I hope it's not as difficult Even trying to imagine that one sliding up there, because I don't think it will. I heard it ease a little bit then. Oh. Right, that's lifted up. Right, what do I use? I want to come up in a uniform sort of way. Got ya. Now you can see down in there where the mould, this outer piece hasn't gone all the way through, so I wonder if I can just tap that out. Or am I going to have to go through with it? It pretty much looked as if it was touching the mould on the inside when I cast it. So it can't be many millimeters away from being there. I love that edge there. It's a shame I'm going to have to polish that out because I've got a couple of areas here that will need rounding out. But that edge there is just knife edge sharp. That's what I was hoping for. But the bigger question is, how am I going to get that piece out there? So we've got 25mm thickness of concrete. That goes down about 15, plus the 5 of the thickness of the plywood. So I've got 5mm. I didn't think, it must have worked its way out somehow, because when I slid this one in, it mated with the inner mould. But as you can see, it's nowhere near looking like it's close. Although I've got a really good mirror finish on this housing, I've got some interesting little air bubbles. I did make an attempt to get the air bubbles out, as you saw from the casting where I vibrated it, but nevertheless I've got lots of these air bubbles and they're pretty much all over. Yeah, that was the top. And that's the bottom. I don't know if you can see the sheen that the acetate left from the mould, but a couple of aspects that I'm not happy about is these imperfections on the side, and also along the top here. I am going to inset the top piece of oak here, so I'm not really happy about these. So what I've decided to do is to attempt to grind in polish. I already had a quick go on the back. If you can remember what the back looked like, But that was about 20 minutes with the 50 grit diamond wheel. It took about 2, maybe 3 millimeters off. I've still got a few dips in it and various holes, so I'm not sure when I'm going to decide that that's okay. I don't mind little imperfections, it will give it the industrial look I was sort of after, but now I'm quite struck on the idea of this exposed aggregate, and when that's polished down all the way down to well, I've got 6,000 grit, but rather like sandpaper, and you can start off coarse and then go fine, but this should look really good. I'm okay with these little holes. I just didn't want the jagged edges, so I've set up I made a right mess yesterday. That was the spray off the drill. So I'm doing it in a little tray, but I've decided to put a little shield around it. I got absolutely plastered yesterday. My trainers got plastered. The wall got plastered, so I should remain relatively clean. So, right, let me set this up and I will show you some of my polishing. Right, here we are. I've got that in there, in the bucket there with me plastic shield, so I shouldn't be making too much of a mess. I have a water sprayer because this is a wet grinding technique, so I'm going to have to keep stopping and spraying it. Now you're not going to hear me once I start, so right, let's give it another spray. You can see from all the residue coming off just how much is being ground down each time. I've made a few changes. So I've got a variable bench supply there. Follow the cable round to there. And I have my own little pump water supply. That's going to save me a lot of time. Took 10 minutes to set up, but that'll save me from stopping every 2 minutes or every minute. So let's give this another whirl. Right, I don't know if you can pick that up, but we're very nearly there. I probably took about 2, maybe 3 millimeters off this face. I've about another millimeter to go. There's just a couple of small areas, but the finish, bearing in mind this is the first pass with 50 grit, the finish is quite effective. Okay, so that's the major imperfections that I was unhappy about gone. I've got quite a clean line, quite a sharp line around there now. And I like the way the aggregate is showing through. So that's enough with the 50 grit wheel. I'll now move up to the 100 grit wheel. So there'll be finer little diamonds in there. I don't know if you can see that or not on video, but they are impregnated. So we can go progressively up until, with the 3000, should be a final mirror finish. So let's see how we go. Right, so that was about 60 seconds each with the 100, 150, the 300. I've just finished the last minute on the 500 grit, and already you can see, I don't know if that focus, be able to see how shiny that's already become. Well, it's starting to dry now, but when I first took it out there was a nice sheen to it. So we're heading the right way. If my camera can focus. Right, so I've just gone up to 2000 grit, about a minute each wheel. And this really does feel like glass. I've still got the 3000 wheel to go yet, but this really is, I can't feel any mark on there at all. It's just like glass.
Oh my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around.